Enemy, noun, plural, enemies. 1. Countable, a person who hates somebody or who acts or speaks against somebody, something. He has a lot of enemies in the company. After just one day, she had already made an enemy of her manager. They used to be friends, but they are now sworn enemies, are determined not to become friends again. It is rare to find a prominent politician with few political enemies. The state has a duty to protect its citizens against external enemies. Birds are the natural enemies of many insect pests. They kill them. See also, enemy. 2. The enemy, singular, plus singular, or plural verb. A country that you are fighting a war against. The soldiers, etc., of this country. The enemy were forced to retreat. Enemy forces, aircraft, territory. Behind enemy lines, the area controlled by the enemy. Serrated entrance, conflict. 3. Countable, enemy of something, formal. Anything that harms something or prevents it from being successful. Poverty and ignorance are the enemies of progress. Extra examples. He turned to face his enemy. He was prepared to use any weapon to fight against his enemies. He was shot for desertion in the face of the enemy. I didn't want to make an enemy of Mr. Evans. In today's match, England played their old enemy, Scotland. Intelligence reported enemy activity just off the coast. Iraq's traditional enemy, Iran. It is important to know your enemy. She didn't have an enemy in the world. Since the scandal, he has become public enemy number 1. Some dancers become their own worst enemies, criticizing themselves for every imperfection. The church and the Communist Party were natural enemies. The cat uses its claws to protect itself against enemies. The document must not at any price fall into enemy hands. The lion is the zebra's chief enemy. The man came under enemy fire. The skunk releases a pungent smell to deter the enemy. The spies managed to penetrate behind enemy lines. They decided to use the weapon against the enemy. They united in the face of a common enemy. Thousands of perceived enemies of the state were imprisoned. An enemy of God. The first casualty from enemy action. Birds are the natural enemies of many insect pests. It is rare to find a prominent politician with few political enemies. The enemy was forced to retreat. They used to be friends, but now they are sworn enemies. Enemy aircraft. To go behind enemy lines.